Welcome to Monday Night Live, the weekly training that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Andre, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Doing good. Challenging day today, that's all. It's been good.
Oh yeah, I'm like in the emails and the texts, but it's all good. Um, I'm imagining we'll have a good turnout tonight because I mean we were going to talk about YouTube, how to use it. We may still have time to do that. I mean, I think once I show people what we're doing, the newer folks will be a lot more comfortable. Um, so hey Andre, would you mind if I promote? Would you mind helping with the
Sure.
promoting people? I appreciate the help because they're coming in fast and furious. Let's see, Andre, make co-host. Okay, you are co-host.
Okay.
Hey, Rose.
Good
Rose
evening.
Jane.
Hi. Good. uh,
I can't even remember last time I saw you. So
I'm still here. The market is like within inflation. I love listening to you guys but listening to Bloomberg Radio with everything that's going on. I want to see like what you guys are doing. I haven't committed to but I love listening to you guys, just seeing because you know what? I'm an
yeah,
advocate for homelessness and I'm with New Virginia Majority and we talk a lot about the housing market. So I want to hear some of the things that you
yeah,
guys have to say in reference to the housing market.
yeah. What's interesting is when this whole thing, dude, this has actually been going on for quite a while. Probably 15 years. It just came to a head this past October. The fall, and we're actually already prepared. I mean, EXP, they already got everything all figured out, all the forms and everything. And then the organization we're in, we have our team, the Global Investor Agent team, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the line that we're in, the what we call the organization, um, at the top is Jay Kinder, Michael Reese, those guys, and they brought in their own training platform called Kinder Reese Training, and they rebranded it NAEA, National Academy of Expert Advisors, where everybody in the line, including us, doesn't matter how far down you are, we all get that. Well, part of it is, getting a buyer agency certification and all the training goes with it. And you get a document that helps you when you're working with buyers to explain why they want to work with you, what the value is, why do you have a buyer's agent to begin with, and what are all the services you provide, what are the risks of not having one, what are the benefits of having one, that kind of stuff, as well as the form itself. Um, but back to the housing market though, and I'm going to go into all that in great detail, guys. I promise we're going to cover lots of details tonight. But um, when it comes to the market itself, you had a couple of years of rising prices, followed by a couple of years of rising interest rates. So that knocks a lot of buyers out, right? I mean, if you look at how mortgage rates work and the effect on payments, then if you guys want to write this down, just some broad-based facts and figures. For every point in interest rate you go up, like you go from 5 to 6 or 6 to 7, it creates about a 10% increase in your mortgage payment on average. It's a little bit less, a little bit more, depending on the how much you're borrowing and so forth. But so if you go up from 3% to 7%, the next essentially you just added 40% to your mortgage payment. That's pretty dramatic. So a lot of people can no longer afford a $500,000 house. They can now only afford a $300,000 house, right? So what's interesting, normally supply and demand, natural, left to its own, right, in its natural state, work perfectly. And it still does. It's just we have this added factor that we have a shortage of housing in the country right now. And some estimates are 4 million, some are 7 million. I think it's closer to 7, quite frankly. Um, so what that means is there's this extra factor that we have to account for when you look at supply and demand. So you have dampened demand based on interest rates and rising prices, and yet you have this other need, and it's really not technically demand. It is demand in principle. We're short of housing. Well, you automatically will believe that there's demand there. The challenge is, if you look at what the shortage is, it's affordable housing. Affordable housing can mean rentals or sales. And within the sales portion of affordable housing, builders have to build to make up that deficit. But let's do a quick quiz here. Who here thinks builders want to build affordable housing? Or who thinks exactly builders don't want to build affordable housing? They want to build the most expensive housing they can because they make more money per house. So, and guys, I am not a big proponent of big government. I can promise you that. So I'm not a big proponent of big government. However, there are times when government has to step up and act, and I think this was one of those times. In other words, in crisis mode, government should act. Now, we're not really in crisis mode, but when it comes to shortage of housing, and we're bringing in a lot of new people every day, right? Whether you call them, undocumented aliens or illegal immigrants, whatever you want to call them, they're people and they need housing, So if we're going to solve it, we need incentives for builders to build affordable housing, right? Or we need incentives for investors, like some of us are investors on this call here, to either buy and or remodel properties to convert them into affordable housing, whether they're for sales or for rentals. So far, let me do a quick check here. Everybody okay so far with the last 4 or 5 sentences? I mean, whether you agree or not, I'm trying not to be political or really not. I'm just being factual. It's an actual fact that we have to deal with, right? So, any case, um, there's examples of that, and I'll give you a couple of examples, and then we'll move on there. And you guys, if you got questions, my gosh, please type them in. This night is for you. Okay, by the time we're done, you're gonna feel really good. I can promise you, because I've got a nice little golden nugget surprise for you, right? So back to this. California, as you might imagine, is born a lot of the immigrants coming across, right, into California. And they're settling around the major population centers, i.e., LA and San Francisco. Well, in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, there's an incentive now for investors and builders to provide affordable housing, whether they build it from scratch or convert a building to be affordable housing. Their focus is on rentals. Okay, so just work with me here for a second. They're focusing on rentals. They're not focusing on home ownership. So as a side note, I'm going to just go down this rabbit hole just for a moment. Many of us were around when we remember there was a huge push for home ownership in the United States. You guys remember that? Started in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. We wanted everybody to own a home, and we were doing really well. We were close to, at one point, between 67 and 70% home ownership across the country, which is an amazing statistic. Okay. But for those who've been around long enough, and you remember that, who here can remember in the last 5 years or 10 years or even 15 years, any mention at all of any program to stimulate home ownership? Nada. Not one speck of anything for home ownership. It's all been about rentals. In 2011, Warren Buffett famously said, if I could buy 100,000 single family homes, I would, because we're going to become a renter nation. Now, he didn't buy 100,000 single family homes. He bought Prudential. Prudential became part of Berkshire Hathaway, and that's where Berkshire Hathaway real estate came from. So back to the main subject here. If you look statistically at rentership around the country, there's some startling statistics, and I'll just go back to California. I've been teaching around the country since 2015. Really, I've been teaching since 2002, but I started traveling to teach in 2015. And one of the first states I went to was California. California as a state at the time was 36% rentership. That means 64% homeownership, not too far off that desired figure of 2/3. That's what the government wanted, 2/3 homeownership. Now, a couple of years ago, it went to 40%. Then it was 44%. Then it was 46%. And guys, I don't know the exact figure today, Wayne, I don't know if you have an idea what the percentage of rentership is in California or any other Californians on the call here. But I'm willing to bet you if it's not 50%, it is pretty darn close, probably like 48% or something.
It's over
So,
55 now.
oh, good Lord. I mean, guys, this more than 55% of residents in California rent. Okay. So what does that I want to have you guys participate here. Call out, and you can unmute yourself or type in the chat box. When 55% of the residents in a single state is over 55% rentership, and it's growing like that everywhere. It's not just California. There's greater percentage of renters all over. What does that mean as far as our clients go? What clients should we start to spend more time focusing on? Eric, you're muted. I can see your mouth muted. I know it was good too, man.
Investors.
Yes.
Investors. I mean, like today, guys. This is not the kind of thing where you wait and see what happens. I mean, who thinks the wait and see attitude is the wait and see approach is the right approach right now? No way. And guys, and here's this, we have some Canadians on too. George, nice to see you, buddy. Did you guys know that Canada's going through the same thing right now? There are lawsuits in Canada, and percentage of rentership in Canada is dramatically increased. I mean, I used to live in London, Ontario, and I can tell you, Toronto, I don't know what it is now. It's probably got to be 60% rentership. And out where I lived in London, the prices went up so rapidly. I mean, doubled in a 2-year time frame back before there was a way before the pandemic.
But Gary, even in the whole Niagara area, people are moving from Toronto, and you can't get a house for under $1 million, even in the whole like hour radius.
It's crazy.
You cannot. So people are moving out further and further and further from the city. But like even my family is there, like all that whole area. I mean, well, several months ago, like last year, they were all $1 million and more. And these are,
right.
I mean, these are areas that just were not that way before. And remember, all those areas, 20% down. You don't have any of the deals that we have here. Everything's 20% down there. You either have it or you don't buy, you rent.
Oh yeah, it's very strict. And by the way, guys, in Canada, remember, the Canadian banking system does not sell their mortgages. They don't go onto the open market in blocks like we have, Fannie Mae. You could go online right now and Google Fannie Mae backed mutual funds, and you can buy shares of mutual funds. They're essentially backed by all the mortgages that Fannie Mae underwrote. In Canada, we don't have the secondary market. So each bank services their own mortgages, right? So the requirements to get a loan are very strict. I mean, you've got to be well qualified. So in any case, so back to this. If we want to work with investors, we need to have relationships with investors to work with them. So we have an entire platform on our team with 21 copyright protected marketing campaigns that focuses on investing in investors. And that's not all. And Eric and Karen, if you guys want to chime in, Eric, I'll start with you and then Karen. We're building a relationship right now with Lou Brown. And I couldn't, guys, I swear, I had no idea this was all going to happen. This wasn't like a big plan. It was part of an overall strategy to capture more of the market, more of the investor market, and solve a problem, which is affordable housing. We already had the affordable housing problem. So Lou and I have known each other for several years. And just in the last 4 weeks, we agreed we're now actively working together to work jointly on this problem. We've got our platform. Lou has his platform. He's got a lot of investors. We've got a lot of agents. A lot of our agents are investors, and a lot of his investors are agents. And he has a lot of consumers that are in need of affordable housing. So there just happens to be a program, a certification for affordable housing that Lou offers. So Eric, why don't you start on that? And then I know, Karen, you've been participating. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Can I bring up something just before Eric gets going? Because, and Dutch was on last night. Because we had a RIA meeting with Lou last night, and I know Dutch was listening in as well. But and he was talking about the fact that this NAR thing is actually really just a push toward, you know, how great it is for his program and what
Oh, yeah.
what we do, you know, as investors, and in this case, investor agents. So you're going to be pushing more of the agents, and let's say agents, us, but other agents that work with us that we're going to attract by the fact that we have a program like this. So I'll let Eric go ahead and then I'll jump in. But
So it's real simple, folks. When we go out and we're working with customers that are tenant buyers, most of them have flaws. So we actually operate as a nationwide network, knowing that people don't qualify for traditional financing today. And the Investors in Lose group, we literally will buy homes for people with the intention of renting to own or getting them to a 10% down payment level. And we have various techniques for that if they lack cash. And once they're at 10% level, we can give them a deed and we actually become their bank and work on their flaws and their deficiencies till they actually do qualify for traditional financing. And they can choose their own mortgage lender, or we'll refer them to one that we know and introduce them to. But real quickly, the pitch is the same for those tenant buyers and also the homeowners that we're talking to, with the motivations that we talk about for our marketing in this platform. But here's the real simple elevator pitch. We're part of a nationwide network of certified affordable housing providers working with a mission to help hardworking and deserving families and individuals, regardless of their credit background or financial background. Okay. And we understand that they don't qualify for traditional financing today, but we're going to help them achieve the American dream of homeownership. How does that sound? And it's real simple. You let them answer. And the sellers actually that I've been speaking with lately, they're actually listening because they understand that they're going to actually be helping the next person and they can move on. A lot of them are elderly and they're thinking, you know, very serious about going into their next phase, but they just need to know that, you know, they're going to be doing the right thing when they sell their property. We also have some tools that can help them, because if we acquire the property with seller financing, we can create some arbitrage there. We can make money and so can they. And it actually is an investment for them if they carry paper. So that's the quick feel.
the other thing too that you can also add, there are going to be a lot of people, you know, we're coming up on a period where there may be a lot of foreclosures. They're starting up again, right? And things like that. And I mean, look, investors are going to go ahead and take advantage of the fact that, you know, homes are being foreclosed upon. So, you know, or things like that, right? I mean, let's face it, that's the American way, right? We're going to go ahead. So what we can do is we can actually try to, like I sent out, I've sent out now, whether I list it or whatever I do with it, but I sent out like 30 letters like this morning, right? For pre-foreclosures, saying, hey, you know, basically, do you want my help? But anyway, essentially, I sent out letters. I could have knocked on doors, whatever. But the point is, you know, and sent out postcards. But the thing is whether they use me as a real estate agent or I utilize a program that I can help people. The thing is that there may be people who can't afford the home they're in, but I could get them a home they could afford. You know, maybe, and those are people that aren't going to qualify for another home right now, right? But I can put them in a different home, maybe one that's less expensive. Like there are homes around the area that right now are up for pre-foreclosure and foreclosure. They're $1.7 million. Well, hell, you know, I think they probably could afford a less expensive home, right? Mm-hmm. And so but maybe with, whatever's going on with their credit, they might not be able to, or may have a hard time getting another home. So why not try to help these people, get into something they can afford? And, we have the ability to be able to actually help people out there, as well as being able to, do something for ourselves,
Yeah. It's
you know.
so Rose, Rose James, I know you probably don't know a lot about this. We've been discussing it for a while. We've been working with Lou for easily 2 years now. But if you do have questions, you can reach out to Eric or Karen or Dutch also. They both have been in Lou's programs. They can explain how it works, and you can be a part of that. If you want to, it would be
Yeah,
good for the community.
I would be interested in learning a part
Okay.
of that, because I work with a lot of people who we're in Loudoun County, and it's one of the richest states
Yep.
in Virginia. So it was one of the richest county in Virginia, where majority of the people are low income. So I would love to learn a lot about that program. Pretty much
Okay.
take the information, because here in Loudoun County, I think you have to be making at least $150,000 in order to basically buy a home in Loudoun County. So we already have been in front of the city commissioners, telling them what's going on in the community, how, we, even though it's a rich county, you still have people who are middle
Oh, yeah.
class funders, you know.
I wanted to bring up
And
to you too, Rose, like affordable housing. When we talk about affordable housing is whatever that customer can afford. Okay, that it can be any figure. It could be somebody who just cannot qualify credit wise for whatever reason. They may have a divorce, they might have a bankruptcy, they might have whatever going on, but it's whatever they can afford. So that's affordability. Now, it could be that, it's just less. So you try to help them with whatever they can actually afford. But there are ways that we do it. And there are people even on this team that we're working with to try to help people that they know, or investors that they have, or whatever, or individuals to kind of work through some of these situations.
yeah, and that's the American dream. The American dream is for everyone to, and so, everyone works together, because here in Loudoun County is predominantly on the low income side, is predominantly Hispanic in that county, around the DMV. But that's what they're looking for. They're looking for ways to afford. They have the money. It's not like they don't have the money, but the information is lacking. That's what they don't have. How to acquire the information to basically afford a home, because a lot of time, if you're renting, you're throwing away your money, when you could use the same money, because a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom here is over like $2,000, over $2,000, almost $3,000. So why not invest that money inside of a home, finding the information to invest that money inside of a home instead of throwing away your money?
There are a lot of people that are in that same boat, that they could be owning a house for what they're paying in rent. I mean, there are a lot of people in that same situation. The thing is they just can't qualify for a loan. They're not bankable, right? So we try to help them to become bankable, but in the meantime, we buy the house for them, right? So, and in the interim,
one of the slogans is never pay rent again.
Right.
Yep.
That's actually what we say, never pay rent again.
Yep.
So.
And guys, I want to tell you too, there are a lot of people out there that teach all kinds of programs, and I've gotten to know a lot of them over the years, because I was running around teaching, agents how to work with investors all those years. Lou is one of those rare people. He's been around a long time. His method is old school, no doubt about it. But I'm telling you, this guy's material is good. I've known people, hundreds and hundreds of people over the years that use it. And it's not just the material's good. He actually gets to know his people. I mean, I'm continually blown away when I talk with him. I'll mention somebody in, Oshkosh, Wisconsin or something that, was a Lou's program 20 years ago. Lou knows them. He by name. He knows their family member's name. He knows what they do for a living. He knows, I think, I don't know how he does it. But here's the other thing. He's well respected in a lot of different communities. And one of them is the political community. I think, guys, hasn't he gone to Washington, D.C. to speak before?
Mm-hmm.
He's
Yes.
Yep.
he's part of the Seller Finance Coalition. They
Yep.
have been going at least once a year. They sit down with senators and Congress people, and they literally are advocating for seller financing and help, which in his world that helps people obtain home ownership. So
He's a huge advocate.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
He wants all of us to be doing the same thing, going to Washington.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
I think
A
we
lot of
should.
people don't realize, but we're all kind of limited to 3 seller finance transactions a year, and if you do more than that, it's regulated. So you have to
You have to be audited.
everything has to be run through an RMLO, and licensure and things like that. So that right now there's a bill on the table and getting close to getting passed that would up that number to 24 transactions per year.
Which would be awesome.
Yep. So, hey guys,
Because that's what we
got-
want is more seller finance transactions without
Yep.
having all of the restrictions.
Yeah. You guys, we do have a lot to cover, but I'm glad that came up. The subject came up, and I, couldn't have planned any better. So I'm glad. So everybody that's not on the team, the relationship is a formal relationship. Like we're going to have a presence on his platform. He's going to have a presence on our platform. We're actually developing the graphics and all what's called the copy, which is just the wording. We already had the relationships. I mean, Karen has on our team and joined Lou's program because of being on our team. Eric was in Lou's program and joined our team because Lou was talking to agents one night. They were asking, "Hey, we want to collect our own commissions. We want to work with more investors." And Lou said, "There's one guy you got to go to. It's Gary Wilson." Guys, I'll be the first to tell you, this team isn't successful because of me. It's successful because everybody else that's on the call tonight. There's actually a lot more of us, but about a third of us are here tonight. It's the old saying that the teamwork makes the dream work. And this has been a pet peeve of mine for decades, ever since I was an investor. And I'm watching families trying to get ahead and seeing how difficult it was. And I'm like, I'm the guy collecting all this money. Like was making a lot of money. And then every single day is the same day for them. So I got to be part of a program through HUD. It was a home ownership program where we could take our tenants, place them in a home ownership program and help them qualify. And then what I would do is my personal contribution, I would take a home that instead of me flipping it for profit on the open market, I would make the Section 8 tenant part of the project from the beginning. I'd have them come to meetings with the contractor. I'd have them approve the design work. I'd have them come with me to go get materials and deliver them to the properties. I'd have them come on inspections. I'd even have them do simple things like, that the contractors would allow them to do, because I wanted them to feel what it's like to be an owner, right? And at the end, they become the owner, and it was basically a net. I didn't make profit from it on the sale. I got a commission out of it is what I did, right? But all the profit went to the owner. So they had built-in equity right out of the gate. It's an amazing thing, but whatever reason, and I'm not knocking the government. I promise. I'm not trying to. I love our country, and we need some level of government to provide some regulation and legislation. I know they've gone a little bit too far, but I just think that we're better at doing stuff like this than the government is. That's my personal belief. Anybody with me on that? I mean, think about it. We need a government for defense, for a road system, for interstate commerce, for a lot of things. But for stuff like this, I think we can do a better job of it. And we're leaving out what we call the middleman. Think about it. If you shift all this control to the government, all those people got to get paid. All that processing. Have you ever been involved with a government program before? Has anybody ever worked for the government? Look at Dana. I mean, the level of red tape, paperwork, we can eliminate all that. Okay. We're actually doing it. So Lou's doing it. We're partnering with him directly. There's no other relationship like this in the country. Definitely not in real estate. And we just happen to be the lucky sons of guns that are part of it. And I swear, I can't believe, I mean, the timing of it. When this message came out, I was jumping for joy. I thought we're like really well positioned for this. So there's a lot more to cover here. So I'm gonna make a few comments here. Karina, thank you for joining us tonight. Karina made the comment, guys, that yes, builders want to build luxury homes. Absolutely right. But guess what else, Karina? Karina, if you want to unmute yourself, feel free. This was an open mic. So what was the comment you made about wealthy people who buy luxury homes? What else do they like to do?
Luxury people and clients tend to buy investment properties
Mm-hmm. Yep. In fact,
all over the country. You're not set in one location with them, or internationally. So with EXP, we have our international reach with being in 24 countries. I'm part of the EXP luxury team and group. And so we have a huge reach that way. And because of that, I've also, before EXP, I was with the Luxury Institute. So they have a reach. So you just have to go out to the internet and you can find these people if they're not in your backyard. Not every area has luxury, and I understand that, but you can still get access to these people or realtors who are working with them who would also like to bring their clients something good to bite on.
Oh yeah. And guys, one thing about affluent customers, people who buy luxury homes, and I can tell you this, they are very tribal. They know each other and they talk. And if you do a good job with one of them, let me tell you, you're going to get invited to all the reindeer games, right? That was the old saying. You get that crowd going, you're going to be invited. I've been invited to people's children's weddings, skiing in Vail, Colorado for a week, completely paid for because I helped one of them flip a 15-unit building. I'm telling you, that'll elevate your game. So this is a great way to take one more step towards building your business and including that part of the marketplace in your business model.
And Gary, on that note,
Yes.
a lot of them have a 1031 exchange, so they need to purchase something within like 45 days. And some of them just need a business write-off and are looking for a loss. It's great for us, right? So don't be afraid to ask them, do you need to make a profit or are you looking for a loss this year? Some of them have to have a loss to offset their income.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And if
They
you
also, they also have IRAs and 401ks. So that's something to take into consideration as well.
Yeah. It's interesting, guys, what Karina was talking about. I know investors who buy investment properties not to buy and hold. They're simply buying investment property. I think we talked about this. I don't know if it was a commercial mastermind several weeks ago or maybe our Money Night Live, but it's called cost segregation. They will buy a property and they will spin off all of the appliances and air conditioners and stoves and refrigerators and paint equipment and lawn equipment, all that stuff for an apartment complex. Spin that off separately, which usually amounts to several $100,000, and they depreciate that on an accelerated scale. Well, they take that and do that, and as soon as they do that, they turn around and sell the property right again. Then guess what? The next owner gets to do the same thing. That's the entire game. They could care less if they, break even on a sale or if they make it a dime on rent because they're making so much money on cost segregation, and it's a fast turnaround too. So keep that in mind. Karina's right. They're, when she mentioned they're looking for a loss, sometimes these losses are paper losses. Okay. They're not losing money out of their pocket. They're just using the tax code the way it's written. And any of us can do it, by the way. Anybody here can do the same thing. Their tax code. Did you guys know the tax code is there to help save you money? It is. All the millions of lines of tax code is not there to take more money out of your pocket. It's to give you rights and privileges to keep more money in your pocket. You just have to have the right tax account to show you how to do it. So
you actually need a tax strategist. What I've learned is working with the wealthy is that they don't wait until March 20th or April 1st to start working with someone who's going to just fill in the blanks. They have someone separate than that person who works coincide with their bookkeepers and their who's filling in the blank. So they know to write off for an Augusta rule, or they're paying their kid $5,600 and change because that's what they can if they're over 22 years old and have college debt. And then they don't have to pay taxes on it. The kid doesn't, and you get the business write-off. They know these things, and that's why they get richer, right? Because they pay for that service. That's not something that the tax guy, when he's filling in the lines, is going to just tell you these are the things you need to deduct. He has no idea. He's got like 42 to do each day until, you know, April 15th. And so it's really important. But the more you talk to these people, the more you'll find out. I have one gentleman that every once in a while he calls me up. He's like, I need to go pay cash for his house, and I need you to list it the next day we close. We'll just get an appraisal, so I know I'm not overpaying for the price. And he usually takes a loss on it. It's just what and I don't ask questions, but I know he needs the tax write-off.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, guys. Today, Karina, you might even familiar with this person. His name is, let me get to the, Mark Miller. He's in Atlanta, and he's the primary tax advisor for the Hilton family, the
Well,
Hilton Foundation out of Atlanta. Yep. And I interviewed him, so we were talking about this, and I learned early on, this is a crazy how this came about. But when I first bought my first set of properties, I had 2 fourplexes, a duplex, and a triplex. And January comes around, so I've got 11 units. And I went to go find a new tax account because I knew I couldn't do my tax. I could do my taxes by myself. I didn't want to because I knew there would be things I didn't know. So I made an appointment with this guy, went to his office. He wasn't there. So I'm thinking, well, gee, what do I do now? I turn around to go to my car, and I looked across the street, and there was another tax account named Jerry Irby. He's still alive. I've been working with him for 27 years. And I went over and I said, look, this other guy's not here. I just saw your sign. I'm just curious, you know, how do you do your taxes? And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, I own real estate. He said, no kidding. So do I. Come on in. So just pure dumb luck. I came across the accountant I've been using for 27 years, and he showed me what to do, right? How to structure things, how to structure ownership. But what Karina's talking about is today in the interview with Mark Miller, one of the principal things he said is people who are successful with money, they don't wait until it's time to file taxes. They plan and prepare well in advance. They have strategies and plans to using the tax code. And it's worth it to pay somebody to help you do that.
Well,
So
also you have to do a lot of things throughout the year to take advantage of those things. You can't just all of a sudden decide that you're going to rent your house out for the 12 times that year for business, which is legal if you do it in a certain way, and you have to have certain documentation. And so, you know, you have to have that done ahead of time, and you have to have taken the payment for it and cashed it for it to count, right? Like you could do your miles. I do mine on like Mile IQ if anyone uses that. If you don't, I love it. The tax people love it. And it just records your miles, and then you just pick whether you're business or personal and what you did for business. Very easy. But you got to pay yourself, or you can't even take that. If I waited until now to pay my mileage for last year, I wouldn't be able to see it until next year on my taxes, to take that write-off. So it's really important that if you do nothing else for yourselves, definitely go find yourself a tax strategist after tax season's over. You're not going to get them now.
yeah, that's right. Yep. And real simple things, guys, too, like setting up a LLC that you designate to be taxed as an S corp. It gives you some benefits that you wouldn't normally get if you're just filing as an individual sole proprietorship. So it's one of the simplest things. Many agents use it. You run your commissions go into your LLC, and your LLC pays you. And because of that, you have certain rights and privileges. One of the easiest things to do.
Honestly, Gary, I recommend that they consult with an attorney and not an accountant on that, because there's certain things that the S corp part is the accountant side. Put the LLC or a PA and why, I always go to my attorneys for that, because there's other reasons why they may or may not want that based on what they have going on.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Guys, what this is amounting to, nobody's born with this knowledge. None of us are. I went to school to study computer science. I didn't study business or law or accounting, anything like that at all. But I've been, fortunate enough early on, I watched other people and I thought, there's something to this. I'm going to find out why are they using a tax advisor, for example, and not just a H&R Block. I'm not knocking H&R Block. I mean, for regular W-2 people, it's probably perfectly fine. But what this comes down to is you thinking, acting, feeling, speaking like a business person. Okay. Your license is not your business. You are your business. Your license is a tool you use in your business, right? So when you feel, think, speak, and act like a business person, and you hang around other people doing the same thing, which is really part of what this whole group's about, it helps you feel more confident in taking action. Okay. We can share resources because we're all in different parts of the country. Nobody here is competing with the person next to you because you're in different markets. But a good tax advisor can support you, probably anybody in the United States, I'm pretty sure. I know companies that serve both the US and Canada, right? So, in fact, I know a lot of Canadians whose businesses, I mean, one of the most popular people in real estate coaching is Craig Proctor. He's Canadian, but 95% of his business is in the US. But people in the US don't know that because they don't take the time to get to know him, you know? In any case, think like a business person. Okay. That's one of the takeaways from today.
Hey,
A
Gary,
couple things, guys. Yes.
can I just jump in for a second? So prior to coming
Yes.
to EXP, I also sell commercial, and I dip into business brokerage because I have a business
Okay.
background prior to coming into real estate. And so if any of you can find a business brokerage salesperson in your backyard, I highly recommend you make friends with them for two reasons. Sometimes people are buying or selling a business and they sometimes run out of their home and they're moving out of the area. So one, you can get a nice referral out of that. And a lot of times the business brokerage guys don't even know to ask you for a referral. So meaning like you'll just get the verbal referral and run with it, right? Until they tell you different. The other is get them to tell you what the process is of how they look at a business to sell. It is very in-depth, and it'll be an eye opener on what things you should be considering for your business to have in place. It's a really great exercise. I recommend it to all my new agents.
Yeah, it is. In fact, guys, you can just go online and Google it, business brokers. It's a commercial license, but it's for buying and selling businesses. And Karina's right. One of my friends, many of you remember a guy named Benny. He owns the restaurants. I had him on class probably 3 years ago in May. With Christine, who was his agent. He's one of my former students. So his family owns 200 restaurants, and he and his CEO for the restaurant business bought a commercial business brokerage because they were buying restaurants and selling restaurants, and they were experts at it. So they built this, and we're actually speaking on Wednesday, Karina. So we were speaking last week, and for the very reason you gave, he was looking for us to be an outlet for all the properties he had where he's selling the business entity, that we would sell the land and building. So you guys, in real estate, we're allowed to sell land and building, but you can't sell a business unless you're in commercial. There's no way around it. So you have to spin that off, have an attorney do it. There's a couple ways, but that's the relationship Karina's talking about. And I was kind of keep it till Troy and I have met on Wednesday. And Dana, you and I are going to have to talk about that probably either tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday. But I'll fill you in later. But this is the kind of stuff you do when you think like a business person. And I want you to recognize that I know where you are right now in your business. You might not be there yet, but it's not because you're not able to or capable of it. You just haven't been aware of the opportunities, right? And that's why we have these Monday Night Live calls, so you can be aware of the opportunities. So my recommendation is you take Karina up on our suggestion, and after class or tomorrow morning, Google in your area business brokerages, and just look them up, do the research, get that they might have 8 agents. Get to know the agents. You might even know one of them, right? Do your research, find out everything about them, and then set up a call, right, with the principal person. Okay.
And when you have that call, let them know that you're on the residential side and that you wanted to get to know them better, because sometimes you bring people, we all relocate somebody. Doesn't matter if you're in Elysian, Minnesota that has a population of 500, or you're in, New York City with a bazillion people. People move all the time. And so you might even have an opportunity where you're bringing a customer to them that's looking to buy a business and they want to relocate to be near mom and dad to help them as they age up, or they're moving back for another reason. And so you started off by saying you're creating a relationship for that reason. Then you can ask them, how often do you have a business that you're selling that potentially they need to sell, property, or, because if they send you a commercial deal to go sell their physical land or building and you don't do commercial, it's okay. Send it to an EXP agent and get the referral fee. It's that easy. Now you're getting paid for something else. But more importantly, you're looking to find out if they need a house purchased or sold, so you can be their go-to person and you stay in touch with them. The thing is I'm under Mitch Ribback, and one of the things that he says all the time is that he says, do you know why a seller chooses the agent that they choose when they go to sell a home? And everybody kind of looks at him and he says, it's the agent that is in front of them at that time is why they get hired. And it's really true. Yes. Okay. You have a following, and we all have the customers that know, love, and trust us, but the bulk of them, that's why so many agents don't get called back on, because they put someone in a house and leave them. Well, when you make these relationships with the commercial people and the residential people, with the business brokerage, you want to make sure that they always remember you. Send them Christmas cards, holiday cards. I send something once a month to those people. Sometimes they're just goofy, random things, but it's a card in the mail. I don't always call them. I know they're as busy as I am, but I know they're going to get that. They're going to laugh that I'm like spamming them in their snail mailbox. But you know what? It works, because they always end up messaging me later. I got your card. I'll send them a silly little video, 10 seconds. Hey, John, I was just driving past your street the other day and I thought of you. Boom, that's it. Just do a quick video, one take on your cell phone. I'm a big proponent of one takes. So get in front of these people and put it on your calendar, and don't forget, because that's going to be the moment that they forget and they start looking up for someone on, the internet, because now they need a residential person, and you just happen to slip their name and there's 9,000 people in their phone. So, and it happens. It really does happen. You could be talking to them yesterday. They wake up today, they get slammed with something. They had a fight with their spouse, their kid's giving them a problem, and they can't think of that residential person. Now they got to go find someone else. Stay in front of them.
Hey, I want to pause briefly to talk to you about your business and specifically your leads. I know volume was low. I've been in this business for 38 years. Volume is as low as it's been in the last 30 years. On our team, we have our own lead generating system. We don't only give you leads, we give you your own lead account. All these leads are yours. They go in your database, not in the team database. They go in your database, okay? All the sales, all the listings go in your name. They don't go into team, they go in your name. We have our own training programs to teach you how to invest and how to work with investors, and we coach you one-on-one. And here's the best part of all, our split is only 25%. You don't pay for anything out of pocket. Everything you get comes out of your low 25% split, and that's not even permanent. That's a temporary split. After a few transactions, you go to a 5% split. That's what you pay forever, and you still get all the coaching, the leads, the marketing, the training, everything you need. Okay, this is real, and it's happening right now. Click on the link below. It's in the email. If you're watching this through another platform, just go to globalinvestoragent.com. Scroll down till you see the join form and fill it out. Otherwise, it should be in the email that you're watching this from now. Okay, I look forward to talking to you. Don't wait. Think about what you're getting now, and think about what I just told you. Think about what you've not been getting, and think about what you could be getting. All right, just click on the link. We'll do a quick interview. I'll analyze your business, and we'll see if this is a fit. I look forward to talking to you. Bye-bye. Man, Karina, I swear everybody here is probably thinking I must have paid you or something to be here tonight, because we've been going over that since the beginning of the year. Every year we do the same thing. Get all your records on your database. Get everybody in your database set up with some automated minimum monthly market update. My gosh. And guys, Karina said it perfectly. She said, the client said, quote unquote, and I thought of you. That's what front of mind presence is. He thought of Karina because Karina sent him a birthday card, sent him a monthly market update, sent him a text, sent him a picture. I'm telling you guys, and you could automate majority of this on KV Core. You just set it up. It's free. It happens automatically. And if you want those people to think of you when they're in the heat of battle, you've got to do those things. And if you don't, someone else is going to get the call, right? And who do you want taking care of your loved ones? Someone you don't know? Who's going to take better care of them? You or someone else? Probably you. I mean, Karina, I wish I could just hand that. What you just said is like exactly, completely exemplifies everything we've been preaching. And
Well, a
that's how
couple years
important it
ago,
is.
I almost learned a very hard lesson. I had moved a
Yeah.
couple in. They found me on Zillow years ago. I'm in Florida by the beach. I'm in the Space Coast. So we have like the rockets that go up. So we got a lot of transient people coming in and out. And so
Yep.
he finds me. I was early on in my career. I learned about the third year to start doing only gifts that had my information engraved on them that they would not throw away or give away. And because people can forget what your name is. They could talk about you all day long, and then all of a sudden, boom, they have a brain freeze. I do it, right? And so all of a sudden I'll be like, shoot, what was that guy's name? And I can't think of it. And it takes a day or two. Well, I almost lost 3 transactions because of that. So the wife was on my Facebook page. She'd comment all the time. I, sent them my Christmas cards and everything else. But when they bought from me, it was before I was doing these knives that I was handing out. Now everybody gets a knife ever since then for this one reason. And this is before this happened. And so I get it. I send out my Christmas cards went out, and we always make funny ones. We can design them ourselves on a program that we have, and this company sends them all out. I get a phone call, and it's the husband. And he's like, oh my gosh, thank God your card came in today, literally that day, because I'm getting transferred back to Georgia. We have to sell our house, and we have to sell my mom's house across the street. I didn't even know they bought the mom's house. Now I'm a little pissed that they bought a house without me, right? And so come to find out, he bought it from a neighbor, like while he was working on the house to get a deal. So I go and list his house. They don't want to move mom until they get situated in Georgia. I list his house. I end up with the buyer. There's 2 transactions. Then I go across the street a month later to sell mom's house, only to find out that that neighbor that they bought for sale by owner happened to be my sister and brother-in-law, who are investors, and they bought it from them. So it was crazy. I ended up with 3 transactions. Had they not got that Christmas card, because I wasn't making my phone calls like I should have to my database. So even if you put them in KV Core, the power of those phone calls. And if you can't do phone calls, I'm telling you, Krista Mayshore teaches this, and I've done it for years. Do a video on your cell phone, no more than 8 to 7 seconds, and just look on Facebook or LinkedIn. Most people are on something, right? So go figure out what they have going on in their life, make one quick mention of it, and ask them to call you when they have a free time you want to catch up. It's all you have to do. And you do it over and over and over again. Get 10 a day, makes 50 a week if you do 5 days a week. If you miss Friday, you got to do it Saturday. You will be surprised how fast your business grows. Mitch Ridback says you have 6 figures sitting right in your phone today. There are people, I have over 9,000 contacts in my phone. Some of them are duplicates, and Samsung keeps repeating them. But aside from that, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not calling every person in your phone to make a contact to them and just ask them, if you don't even know who they are, just be like, hey, if I said, hey, Gary, this is Karina Daninger in Melbourne, Florida. I noticed that you're in my phone, but how do we know each other? Like, just be perplexed about it. How do we know each other? I'm trying to figure out if I should keep you on my phone or take you out. And Gary, what would you say?
I'd say yes.
How do you know me? How do we know each other, Gary?
I'd say I would say I know you from doing a prior transaction. I know you're from real estate. I know you're from wherever we met. The thing is I love where you're going this. And the guys, I want to mention something here. I'm trying to take notes, Karina, as you're speaking.
That's okay.
I got distracted there.
I'm also from New Jersey, living in Florida, so I talk fast.
Oh yeah, you're fit right in. But guys, on KV Core, you can tag your people. One of the tags is you can put tag, LinkedIn, LI, tag FB, Facebook. This is when you communicate with people, make note of what they're responding to. If they don't respond to your phone calls, then make sure you note that on KV Core. If they only respond to text, put ampersand text, hashtag text. Then you don't have to worry your guests anymore. You know how to communicate with them in the way that they want to be communicated with. By the way, Karina, tell Mitch I said hello. I don't know if you remember me, but I taught for him in 2021 in DC at one of the sprint events.
Oh, I love it.
We shared a stage, and he came up afterwards because he was interested in. I was talking to him about how agents can use trust accounts and things like that for investing purposes, and he was really enthralled about it. But real neat guy, really successful, and I'm telling you,
Go
You
with
nailed
that.
it. If you just utilize the people that you know. Karina, let me ask you a question. Does it
pasó?
matter if they're your aunts,
Ándela.
uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, people? Does it? I mean, everybody should be on your
Everybody
database, right?
counts. In fact, I have some girls
Everybody.
right now that have joined me that are early 20s, and they're like, I only have one person I know that's going to buy. I said, no, no, no. You need to go back to your parents' friends, your friends' parents, your friends eventually are going to want to buy or sell, or something might tragically happen to one of their family members where now they're in charge of selling a house. I mean, everybody counts. Everybody.
Yeah. I remember my first teacher, John Zivner, after about a year, he was so frustrated with me because I kept saying, John, I just moved to Pittsburgh. I don't know anybody. I'm in computer science. I still don't know anybody. And he was like, I mean, like spit was coming out of his mouth. He was like, You're you're not even listening. He said, I don't care if they're in South Carolina, I don't care if they're in New York, I don't care if they're in Germany. You know them, they need to put them in your, excuse me, damn database and start working. Because guys, you're not being salesy. You're serving them. You're giving them information. You're saying happy birthday, and every time you do that, you've got your tagline there that says who you are and what you do, right? Send them information on real estate, an article send them the article about NAR. Send that out. You guys should do that tomorrow. Every single person in your database should get an article about NAR and what that means. And you make sure they understand you're the go-to person. In spite of all the crap they're hearing on TV, you're the person that they need to go to and recommend to their family and friends. Do that. I bet you, how many people we have here? 38 people. I'm willing to bet if each of you did that for every single person in your database, within 3 months, each of you would have a transaction, minimum. That's how certain I am. Hey, guy, by the way, Karina was mentioned a few things here. So, back to commercial. All right. What's interesting about this whole NAR thing, it doesn't affect commercial. In commercial, we've been doing this all along, right? In fact, there's commercial brokerages that do not account for buyer side commission at all, ever on any transaction. Okay. We already
I'm in a
know.
transaction right now.
Yep.
And when I asked the listing agent if I'm selling the builder's house, but now he wants to buy a stucco company so he can get a better deal when he's building all these houses. So it's amazing what customers will tell you they want to do. And since I have experience in this, I said, I'll help you. But the particular listing agent says if there's no basically concessions for a buyer's agent, you have to put it in your contract of what you want the seller to pay you. And I put 5%. I want 5 points if I'm going to do business brokerage, commercial, and all the other stuff. And, so I put it in there and I'm getting it. Right now, sometimes you don't get it. You got to go back to negotiating. But commercial, they typically get paid at a much higher percentage than residential. So if you're working with a commercial guy and he wants to pay you 3%, you got to ask him what the actual contract says, because most of the time they're taking 10% and paying a residential agent like 2.5% because they know that's what the residential agents are happy to get paid by. So you got to be careful with that.
Yeah. What's funny, Karina, we have a mastermind on our team. It's a couple we have a commercial mastermind that meets every other Monday. We met today. This came up. And what's funny is the guys that we do on our team do commercial work, they know this. So it didn't take I'm going to hunker down, I'm going to lower my rate, I'm going to take the 1%, I'm going to survive this. You know what they said? My rate went up.
That's
My
what I
rate
told
just
Mitch
went
on
up.
Friday. My prices just
Yep.
went up. If I'm going to do everything, I now am at 8 or 9 or 10% on the residential transaction.
Yep. And guys, what she just said applies. So remember, not all investors are not on commercial. In fact, most investors start off on the residential side, buying duplexes and fourplexes and flipping homes, right? My whole life was spent with that crowd, and I always had to put that in there for my commission. I had them all sign a buyer's agency agreement that said, if I don't get X from the seller, you've got to make up the difference. And I never batted an eyelash because it was just part of what I did. I just how I learned it. So I'm telling you right now, you should have a buyer's agency agreement with every single person you work with, especially now going forward. In fact, hey, Bonetta, would you mind unmuting yourself and kind of tell me what you were telling me today on our strategy call about this whole thing? What's your philosophy on this?
Yeah, I don't even take them out. We have a buyer, so I have a whole schedule of what I do, a whole what do you call itinerary. And so on that, one of the things is after I introduce them to the lender, I do a buyer presentation. And at the end of that presentation, the next thing, the last thing is I introduce them to buyer agreement, buyer brokerage agreement. They have to sign it because otherwise I don't take you out. The only time I took out clients without a buyer agreement the first time was when I was on the other team at KW and we were working with Zillow leads. So I take them out on one appointment, one and done. I said, great, I've showed you one property and I'd love to be your full-time agent, but in order for me to do that, I have to become your agent. And I had one couple who didn't want it, and I was okay with that because leads were coming in so fast and furious at that time, it was hard for us to keep up with them. But I'm not working for free. I don't work for free. So if you don't want me to be your agent, no problem. I just fired somebody today. I told Gary, I fired a client. He's been jerking me around and I have enough with him. I fired him today, literally fired him.
Yep.
Done.
Yep. Well, the thing is, guys, is I know if you haven't been doing buyer's agency agreements, it's because you didn't want to take a chance on risk a relationship, or you were afraid they would say no, or all the things that I went through my head 20 something years ago. I'm telling you, it's all in your head. It's all a myth. The first time I had to approach a client with this, I thought for sure he was going to say no. I worked up myself the night before, scripting and planning and preparing, staying in front of the mirror. The next morning, I get on the phone with him, and I just brought it up. Just barfed on him. Here's what I got to do, and this is it. And he said, "Okay, where do I sign?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?" I thought for sure he was going to debate me for the next half hour. Never happened. It was all in my head.
Hey,
Just
Gary,
do it the first
one
time.
thing.
Yep. Yep.
One of the things that I make sure that I do is in doing the buyer presentation is I introduce them to all the steps and all the things that I'm going to do for them, including buyers, realtor's role. I have it outlined. There's a there's a whole list of things. What does a realtor do? This is what I do for you. So by the time we get to the end, they want to know, where do I sign? Because I'm showing value. I've been showing value, and I'm even showing more value now. So we're getting down to the nitty gritty here with these buyers.
I'd like to chime in.
Yes, please.
Yep. Go ahead, Dana.
To your point, I think a couple weeks ago, NAR started making the ABR, accredited buyer rep program, free. I paid for it and went through it like 2005, had the designation, but I've always, when I was a resi agent, always signed people up. So I think that training might give you some extra tools. It was a long time ago I took, but I think it will actually help with your production, and it's free if you're an NAR member now.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Hey guys, by the way, because for the organization we're in, the Honey Badger organization, we do get access to NAEA, National Academy of Expert Advisors. And I want to show you something here real quick. So for those of you working strictly with residential clients, or it's part of your business, which is most of you here, this is right from the training program. NAEA, this is, you get it. You don't have to ask for it. In fact, this is going to go out in tomorrow's email from Beverly with the recording of the session. And here you go. Program advantages, buyer advantage program advantages, amazing programs and services. I'm not going to read all these because I want you guys to do it tomorrow. The Raving Fan Club, okay? What you need to do to get enrolled, buyer's advantage, conditions and limitations, right? Home buyer signs it, broker signs it, and there you go. Now we already have a form. Well, let me qualify this. Most states, all the forms are through the state's real estate commission. They're all pre-approved up to the state's Supreme Court. So if you ever go to court, you're not going to have a contract problem. Okay. Some states, it's literally, brokers by brokers, they have their own forms. But regardless, we already have the forms, a buyer's agency agreement, right, in our forms database. What I want you to do is take what you're going to get tomorrow. I want you to go on to NAEA, and if you haven't done the buyer agent certification process, make sure you do it, because that's what Bonetta did years ago. She already has her entire script the benefits, the features, you know. I mean, most buyers, can you imagine a first-time home buyer buying a home today with no representation? That's insanity. In fact, I'll give you an example here. Now, some people are going to say, consumers, I can hear these consumers now because some of them are in my family. I don't need agents because all you do is you Bob meet Jane and Jane meet Bob and you don't do anything else and you collect a lot of money. They have no clue. It's because we haven't educated them. All right. Here's an example. We all know about lead paint. In residential, we have to disclose everything about lead paint, right? You get the pamphlet and all that stuff. And if you know anything, you got to disclose it. Others got to disclose it. But what about mold? Did you know that mold is not required to be disclosed in all states? In North Carolina, it's not required at all. In North Carolina, I could own a property, have fail a mold test on Friday, get the property remediated today, get it under contract tomorrow, and I don't have to say a single word. But if I'm an agent in North Carolina, I know this. And I know this parts of North Carolina, particularly up in the mountains where it's very damp. There's a lot of mold, right? And I know to ask for in a contingency for a mold inspection. They have mold inspectors, they have mold remediators. But most consumers wouldn't think of this. There's a huge value. I mean, this could be, I mean, if you understand mold, you know, some people it's very dangerous for certain people. And there's about 5 kinds of mold that are dangerous for everybody. And one of those kinds happens to be in North Carolina, right? I know it for a fact. And I actually know how to identify it. I took that stuff years ago in Pennsylvania, you know, mold certification, whatever it was. But in any case, that's just a small example of how you bring value. And it's something very personal. If they have children and you say, did you know that if you breathe too much mold, it could get inside your lungs? It could get into your organs. Did you know mold can get in your brain? Did you guys know that? Absolutely. Can't do anything about it. There's no cure for it. Okay. Now you don't want to scare people, but you bring this value to the table. That's just one example. But the point is take the NAE certification. You already have it available to you. I'm pretty sure if I know Glenn Sanford, and there's been talks for over a week now because we saw what was happening. We knew what was going to happen. All the forms are already prepared. Everything you need is available to you to succeed in this market. You just have to apply yourself. This is not time to don't forget the television. You guys see the news this morning? Who saw any national news this morning? I don't watch it personally. I haven't owned a television since 2015, but there's one that my mother watches, so I can't help but see part of it. Well, Bonetta told me what was on this morning, what they were saying. It's factually wrong, and it's a huge disservice to the consumer. In fact, this whole thing, we're actually going back 30 years. Do you guys know buyer's agency came about because of the huge risk that the buyers were under? Caveat emptor, that was the philosophy. We all work for the seller. Even if you were representing a buyer back then, it was called sub-agency. Okay. We're just going back 30 years. We still have business to conduct. But knowing what we know allows you to put yourself in front of the competition. All those little independent brokerages out there, I feel sorry for them. Okay. They're at a huge disadvantage. They don't have the same depth of knowledge and experience that we have. They don't have all that. They don't have the support, that we have. In fact, if I was you guys, all those teams out there, in fact, write this down. This is an assignment for tomorrow. Everybody you know that's on a team in another brokerage, chances are it's a traditional team where they have 3 buyers agents, 2 listing specialists, an MCA, ISA, and an admin, whatever, right? And those buyers agents right now, do you think they're nervous? Call them up. Say, you know what? You should come on over here because on our team, Gary Wilson teaches us to be the whole agent. We're not just a buyer agent. We have our own brand. We have our own model. You produce your own business. I just give her everything to do it. You get your own lead generating system. Tell them all these things. Tell them you don't have to be a buyer's agent anymore. You can be a whole agent. You can get listings and buy sides. How'd you like them apples? That's your pitch tomorrow. I see Andre taking notes. I know Andre is going to use that because he brings in teams, right? Call the teams that you know have buyer's agents. If you know buyer's agents, call them up. Say, look, is this making you nervous? Really? Guess here's what we do. This is what we do on our team. You should come to class on a Monday night sometime. Check it out. Hey, by the way, guys, Karina, I apologize. I realize now why I know you is because you're teaching for us next week, aren't you?
I just happened to get the night wrong, but I was here prepared.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my gosh, this is so incredible.
I'm
I
like,
thought you were coming.
look, I'm a girl, so I'm usually late. So the fact that I'm a week early gets me a couple credits.
No, this is perfect. I'm so glad you're on because you bring a wealth of knowledge and you understand commerce, you understand investors, you understand luxury, and more importantly, you you exercise your database. You communicate with them. That is we call that the low hanging fruit. In fact, Karina, I made a policy this year. I don't know if Rob Lane's on vacation this week, but I said, Rob, we're not going to give anybody any marketing that costs any money until they're producing 10% from their database. Would you agree, Karina? Your database should be producing at least 10%, right?
It
10%.
better be producing a lot more than that with that many people in it.
Yeah.
But I'll
Yep.
tell you, you said something interesting earlier about you being new to the area and coming from with a tech background. I moved from New Jersey as the only living parent for 2 kids, a dog and 2 cats, sight unseen, to the Space Coast of Florida to get a change of pace. I had been in software sales since 1995. When I fell into that by accident, I was going to Villanova University to be a broadcaster. The next thing I know, I'm spinning off software companies. And I will tell you, back then, I did not go to the computer lab because those guys with their floppy disk talk and their pocket protectors scared the crap out of me. And so I fell into that business and I found I had to call people. You had to pick the phone up and make those phone calls. And so every day, all the way up through 2012 until I left Oracle, I made 50 phone calls every morning between 7:30 in the morning to 10 o'clock. I wouldn't answer the phone. If they were calling me back, the idea was I didn't even want to talk to them. I wanted to call them. And then the rest of the day, my phone would ring. And you know what? I was #1 worldwide, nationwide. It didn't matter. I had more business than anybody else because they were busy golfing and doing whatever. So while your friends are doing something else, if you're not making in real estate no less than 10 calls a day to your sphere, I'm not even asking like cold calling, just sphere, you will dominate your area because 10 calls a day leads to 50 a week. You want to do more? Do more. If you can do 10 calls a day and 10 video messages to the back end of your database and meet back in the middle and then swap it back, you'll have even more. You'll be an icon agent in like 3 months, but you got to do it consistently.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is, I've been able to meet a lot of the icons at EXP, and it is a very unique reward, if you will. But every single one of them, when we get together, we have masterminds, we talk. Every single one of them has their database rocking and rolling. They don't care if it's their mother or father, because they know their mother and father want to help them succeed. They're not looking to buy and sell a house today, probably, but they probably know somebody who is. And because you remind them, front of my presence, they're going to remember to bring your name up first when somebody pops up in their neighborhood getting ready to sell. Guys, it's as simple as that. Then and only then do you spend money on marketing. I mean, I know people that don't spend a dime on marketing. I never did actually. I never spent a single dime on marketing. It's partly because I had a lot of investors and they told each other and it just grew organically. And I got a lot of repeat business from those investors too. So I know we're really covering a lot tonight, guys, but really what it all comes down to is this whole thing, when it came up, and I've known about it for years, it just came to a head this past fall. I never really worried about it. I worried about you guys because I was afraid you would get caught up in all the hype and the fear and the scarcity and all that kind of stuff. It's not necessary. All we're doing is we're going back to the way we did business 30 years ago. We still had buyers and sellers in every transaction. Somebody's got to buy, somebody's got to sell. You're going to be on one of those sides. And if you're lucky, you'll be on both of those sides. All right. We have Really Flow to help you get listings. I don't know if Deb Warner's on tonight, but 2 weeks ago, she sent out 20 letters. She skip traced them to get the phone numbers, 20 letters, just like we teach it. She called them 7 days later, 2 listing appointments right out of the bat. And when I met her last week, one of them was already going to sign a listing agreement. That's how easy it is. Okay. So just use the tools we got for you. I mean, you don't have to pay for that stuff. We've already paid for it. You got to pay for the stamp and the envelope, but don't hesitate, guys. You've got so many resources here. And by the way, before I forget, thanks Mike Koppel for bringing you on, Karina, and for we get a double bonus. We Karina tonight and next Monday.
And next week is going to blow your mind.
Oh, I'm excited. We put in a data, not a database, a landing page, I guess you call it that, for our AI tools and AI scripts about this time last year actually. And but the world, it's changed so rapidly. I'm like, holy crap! When Mike brought this up, I said, heck yeah, man, let's sign her up, you know. So we're excited about that. And then Dana Truman's on. Dana and I go back probably 2009, and I know you can't tell, but we're actually twins. We really are. We're blood brothers. But I'm here because of Dana, right? And when we first met, I mean, you know, it was just instantaneous. You know, it's hard to do. It's just like chemistry thing. But I learned so much from him over the years. And one of those things I learned is how to deal with expires. So when you focus on listings, you got to know the expired game. And Dana knows it cold. I everything I know about expires, I learned from Dana, right? All those systems out there, I'm telling you, nothing comes close to having somebody that's actually made his living off of doing that. And by the way, Dana's in commercial now, so he's evolved and moved up the ladder, so to speak. But Dana is my sponsor. Andre, who's on, is Dana's sponsor. And guys, the two guys above them, two of the next three guys, Dan Hilsman, James Massey, you guys should reach out to James Massey. He's an amazing human being, right? And I mean, I help him, but I help him because he helps us. And some stuff you don't even know, you're not even aware of it, the stuff that these guys do. So tap into your resources, and Dana's one of them. Dana, would you like to see these guys succeed even more than they're succeeding right now?
I'm here to help.
I mean, we talk almost daily. This is how serious we are. I mean, this is like the best combination we could ever imagine. And there's more to come, guys. So I want to, I know it's 16 after 8, and I want to be respectful of your time. I want to open this up to Q&A, but I want to recap things just briefly. I want you to, if you could please take notes, just brief crib notes, okay? One of the things you want to do is make sure, if you haven't already, access NAEA, right? And do the certification. It's real simple, really easy, probably an hour, maybe 2 hours. You're automatically gonna get the form I showed you earlier. I already gave it to Beverly, just sent out the next day, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is now you've heard it from me, you've heard it from Karina, you've probably heard from others, is if I could come sit at your kitchen table, I would not do it with you. You have got to get all your contacts on KV Core. You cannot wait anymore, okay? I mean, we've been going at this since January, and now all of a sudden we got this great opportunity in front of us. The spring selling season is already starting. I can see it in Sislo, okay? April's the big month. Do you want to wait till April before you're adding all these records to your database? Or you want to do that now, have everybody set up so you're ready for April, right? I mean, this is what successful people do, guys. This is what business people do. They don't wait and see, they prepare, okay? And please forgive me if I sound like I'm beating you over the head. I know I am,
So
but I'm doing it on
I have
purpose.
something for you
Yep.
on that. So
Yep.
KV Core will upload, if you just put your stuff in a .csv file, doesn't even have to be in the right order. Lord knows I gave them thousands of people in all sorts of orders in multiple spreadsheets. They will for free upload it to you. Gary, I'll send you a link that they can have for that. And
Yep.
I also did a training when I first came into EXP a couple years ago, and it's really great. It was my favorite one because it takes you through like 6 weeks, and every day, 5 days a week for 6 weeks, you do something in KV Core, and it builds your knowledge up all the way. So that's the one I have all my new agents go through. And then they go on to everything else, right? But that one, also one of those steps is actually where I got the link for you to upload your stuff. But more importantly, if they upload your stuff from a .csv file, what happens is the people are not automatically like, if you put them in by hand into like you type up Gary Wilson, 123 Main Street, whatever, then they don't have to opt in. But when the spreadsheet goes in, they have to opt in. So you know what that does for you? You have to call them and tell them what's happening and get them to opt in. Tell them you're going to send them an email. You're setting them up on a market update, and the only way they're going to get it is if they opt in, and they're going to want it because it's free and it's going to come to them like clockwork. I do it for every 3 weeks because 4th week they might have to go sell that house, and I don't want to miss them. Like I almost missed that other couple. So every 3 weeks, you just check it off. And at the same time, I check off that they're getting the app, whether they want it or not, they're going to get it. Then it's up to them if they keep it or not. But I'm telling you, that's not a hindrance. If you get 9,000 contacts back like I did, and I was like, oh, geez, I'm going to have to reach out to every one of them. I was like, oh, I get to reach out to every one of them. Now I have a reason besides want to buy a house, right? So although that's not a bad question to ask, but really just, it gives you another reason to pick up that phone.
You got it. Yeah. I appreciate that. And I really appreciate you sharing, Karina. I mean, this is, this is, normally we would pay somebody $10,000 and $100,000 for this kind of information. $1 million.
But that's the nice thing about EXP, Gary. I'm on a top producer panel every Thursday. We speak for an hour, and we give away the boat. We give away the world on it. And that's the thing that is different with EXP than a lot of other brokerages. We're not afraid to share. Like that's our mission, is to make everybody successful and to give back. When I created my team, I didn't want to be a normal team where I was going to take a bunch of money from my agents. They just had to come in under me in EXP. And it's a team where it's all about empowerment and giving to each other. So if I'm not available to answer a question on our group chat, they're supposed to answer it if they know the answer. And so if someone goes on vacation, someone else will step in and open a door for them. If they have to open up 20 doors, then we might have to talk. But if it's a couple doors here or there, we're there to help each other. And that's how I wanted to be, because I'm a person of contribution, and I wanted my team to be a team of contribution to each other.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We do. It's like that all over the company. I mean, I've worked with people in other organizations, and there's I don't gain materially from it, but we have the philosophy of rising tide lifts all ships, and the relationships you build. Well, I mean, it's just something will come up a year later, some golden nugget, a piece of information, or a contact because of this philosophy, because of this culture. And I never experienced anywhere else. I mean, I'm not trying to be on a soapbox here, just telling the truth. I mean, I was a trainer at one of the biggest companies on the planet, for 8 years, and great culture. But the level of sharing here goes way beyond industry norms. It's not even people. It freaks people out when they come here because they're like, is this real, or is there some hidden, there's something, what's the hook? I always get that. Well, what's it going to cost me? I'm like, nothing. Welcome. You're welcome to EXP. I just gave you one of my #1 marketing campaigns I've used my entire life. And I'm glad to do it because now we're friends, So, hey guys, a couple things here. The NAEA, make sure you do the certification for buyer agency, get the form. Okay. Number 2 is really, really, really get KV Core up and running, guys. I don't know how else to get it. I wish I could just get in your head and take over your body for 2 days to get it done. They'll do it for you for free, like Karina said. You got to get it prepared, but just do it. Turn on the monthly market update. Just get that first one out of the way, right? Then we can move on from there. There's a lot more to do, but just do that. Just do that. For your investors, create your booklet. Create the dang booklet, for crying out loud. Put some flips in there. Send it to everybody in your database, because you will find out who are the people interested in flipping. Show them examples of flips. Everybody loves flipping, right? By the way, Karina, but the guy that got me into investing, his name's Socrates. His dad taught us when we were in college in Virginia Beach. He lives in Port St. Lucie, not too far from you, So
not far at all. I'd be happy to help you.
Yeah, that's right. He just bought he's got a nice place, But any case,
just put in
that's
the chat a couple links for KV Core, and I'm going to pop a couple more in there for training purposes.
Hey guys, go ahead to the chat and do the, highlight and copy that, and then you can paste it somewhere else so you'll save it. Don't forget, you go ahead and paste it into a Word doc or a email to yourself. But do that, create that booklet. Just follow the instructions on the booklet campaign. You're going to ask people, hey, have you ever considered flipping a home or buying a small rental? Here's 3 examples of 3 flips from the area. People are enamored by it. I watch the flipping shows. I'm in the business, right? So do that. By the way, just so you know, we're going to talk about YouTube on April the 8th. So real quick, some admin stuff here. Karina's going to be on next week talking about AI, teaching you AI. On the 1st, we're taking the 1st off, April 1st. We're going to recognize all the religious holidays. There's a couple of them. We're going to recognize all of them that are around that time frame. Okay, but Easter, Passover, all kinds. Any case, so we're going to do YouTube on the 8th. I knew that was going to happen tonight, so be prepared for that. Also, I want to make sure I can read my notes here. Hang on one second. In my folder, expert advisors, training, certified. Yep. So also the Lou Brown program, right? Being a certified affordable housing, is it specialist, Eric, or advisor? I can't remember, Karen?
Provider, yeah.
Provider.
Yeah. But there's a lot to that, just so you know. Yeah. I mean, there's other things you can do before that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do, guys. Who here, type in the chat box if you're interested in that program, Certified Affordable Housing Provider Program. Just say it's CAHP.
It's called CAP.
CAP.
Mhm.
Just type CAP in so we
But
know.
CAHP, you're right.
Yep. And what we'll do, guys, we'll do a special session just on CAP. I tell you what we'll do. We'll do it in April on Monday Night Live. How about that? We'll do it for the whole world. So Karina, the class I teach here, we open it up to the world. This isn't just us guys on the team. It's other people at EXP, people at other brokerages. So anything we do, we share. I mean, again, back to the culture. We share. So if you guys want to be a part of this, no hooks, no hidden agendas. Just be part of it, even if
I
you're
love
another
it.
brokerage. I promise
That's
you will.
fantastic.
Yeah. So can we do that, guys? It'll be the 15th of April. Eric and Karen, we'll work together on a curriculum, and maybe we could bring in the master himself, Lou, to do a cameo for us, you know?
Oh, he'd be thrilled, I'm sure.
Yeah, you can't do any better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I think Lou likes to talk. I don't know. Could be just not just kidding. But
Like I said, I think he'd be thrilled.
At 50 years of experience, you want him to come and talk. So, and you guys all want to hear it. So,
40 years, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you did those 4 things, I promise you, you're going to have more business. I mean, it's a mathematical certainty. There's no way I can't guarantee because I can't get inside your head, but I'm going to work my darndest. And I promise you this, I feed off of your energy. The more you put into it, guys, I mean, Karina, you know what I'm talking about? It's just this crazy dynamic that occurs, and I give it back. It comes back tenfold. I promise you. There's going to be changes and coming along the next 6 months in forms and all this stuff. Those are all semantics. What we're talking about is strategy, how you prepare for this, right, and profit from it. You deserve it. Your family deserves it, and we actually have everything we need in place to do it. We don't have to create anything. When this thing came about, I really thought this was like a Christmas present. That's what it feels like because we have everything we need to not only react but prepare for this market. So, in any case, that was what I have for tonight. It's a 8:28. I know we went a little bit long, but I don't mind staying on for Q&A. If you guys have stuff you want to you have questions on clients, transactions. I mean, you've got some amazing people on tonight. Dwayne, Dana, Bonetta, Karina, Andre, Dutch has probably got more experience than anybody here. I mean, there's people, Rose, I'm looking at here, let's see who, Craig Leverett, Trevor White. I mean, all these people, Les Hamill is on tonight. Tap into these people. All right. And if I didn't call your name, please forgive me. I'm just trying to scan over this. Tom Wall's been in it for a long, long time. Tom, good to see you, buddy. Yep. So Angela Fleming, nice to see you. So these are some amazing people with a lot of experience. So I'm going to stop talking in case you have questions. Because if you let me, guys, I'll just keep talking. Hey, Dutch, go ahead. Yeah.
I can just say that education without implementation is merely entertainment. And I need to implement more of what I know, and the people who implement are the ones who get things done. That's a word to the wise from the old. Implement.
Thanks, Dutch. I
That's it.
appreciate that.
Let's go.
Let's ready. Let's do it. I'm ready, man. Hey, Karina, thank you again for being here tonight. Andre, thanks for being here. Dana, I know Dana just went to pick up his son. Thanks for the guests, Angela and Rose. And let me check to see if there's other guests here. Tom, you're always a guest, of course. And you're actually, Tom, we're going to consider you, what's the word when you're, I forget that. I'm trying to think of the word now. When somebody gets
Honorary
an
member.
honorary member. Thank you very much.
Emeritus.
There you go.
Emeritus.
So I
President
have a
Emeritus.
tip.
Hey, Gary.
Mhm.
So I just want to add something. So my buyer presentation is 25 pages. It's a PowerPoint. And I got the basis was in EXP marketing. And then I
Okay.
expounded upon that. I added pages that I know I wanted clients to know about buying a house. Because one, I'm a former school teacher. So every time I have a meeting with somebody, I was like, okay, I need to add this to my presentation because it's important and I want them to know. So I give them an overview and then I tell them this is the overview, and then we're going to eat this elephant one bite at a time. So you're going to see the steps one bite at a time, but I want you to get the overview. And one of the things I tell them is that between the time they decide to buy and the time they actually close, there's 87 steps, and they're only going to send about 10. The other 77 are done behind the house. They can't see that behind the curtain. And so it's important for them to know because they think we're just glorified door openers. And I'm like, oh no, honey, I do a whole lot more than that. And so this is why I take them through this presentation, because if we don't tell them, they don't know.
Right. Yep. Well, I tell you what, so you got that from the EXP training, like the I forget what they call it.
They have
Okay.
they have about 5 pages in there, and I've expounded upon that. I tell them a little bit about myself, a little bit about the company, what our core values are. Again, this is what this PowerPoint is going to cover. Are you ready? For example, are you really ready to buy a house? And then I take them through what the lender is going to ask them. And then, the 10 steps of what they're going to actually see from the time they talk to the lender to the time they close. And I have the do's and don'ts in there. I have a page on do's and don'ts. And we really don't go over the do's, but we go over the don'ts.
Yeah.
We definitely go over the don'ts. And
Like don't buy a new car before closing. Yeah.
A whole lot fewer don'ts than there are do's. So I also tell them my expectations. I want to know, have they ever spoken with an agent before? What was their experience? What did the agent do or didn't do? What did they expect? And I tell them my expectations. I expect them to ask questions, be loyal. They can't work with me and somebody else. That's just a no-no. I want to know if they are WA. Are you really ready, willing, and able? Because the guy I fired today, he was ready. He said he was ready and willing. He was able, let's put it as that, but he wasn't ready and he wasn't willing to do what I asked him to do. And so I learned a very valuable lesson. The first time you don't do what I ask you to do, I'm out. Yeah. Because you're wasting my time. And I'm too good at what I do for you to be wasting my time when there's somebody out there who really needs me. Yeah. Who really wants to buy a house and who really needs what I have to offer. I used to do webinars online because I'm a former school teacher. So I used to have 40, 50 people attend my webinars. And they call me back. They want to know, oh, you know what you're talking about. I do. I really do. So.
Well, I love the way you do your business. By the way, Vanetta, if I send you a check for $1 million, would you share that? The presentation?
Absolutely. I have nothing to hide. I used to teach the VHDA class here in Virginia. And I used to encourage first-time home buyer, excuse me, new agents who were in KW to attend my first-time home buyer classes. I used to teach once a month at KW in Old Town Alexandria, an in-person home buyer, first-time home buyer class. And I used to teach it with myself, a lender, a home inspector, and a title company. And the title company, the home inspector talked all about this ugly mold. And he had pictures. I mean, it would scare you to death. So they got in-depth look at it, you know, firsthand, so they would know what to expect. There's no, I tell them they don't do hidden agenda, and I got you in real estate. It's clear and upfront overview. This is what you should expect. And I know it's a lot. Yeah. It can be complex, and I tell them all that because I've had enough experience now with clients that get all flustered. So I tell them, it's complex. It can be stressful and emotional. There's going to be sometimes some challenging situations, but it will be handled professionally. I tell them that. Yep. I also tell them I don't lie, cheat, and steal. You can trust me.
Hey, Bonetta. Yeah. Just a little side note here, but very appropriate. Tell everybody what your tagline is, your brand, what you're known for. How do you communicate? How do you present yourself to your?
So my brand is the teacher agent, because I was
a teacher agent.
And now I'm an agent. And my tagline is learn today, buy tomorrow.
Yep.
That's my tagline.
So you guys, every one of you can do this. Every one of you has something that you bring to the table. And that's what I want to talk about. Branding, that's what I'm talking about. Don't try to be something you're not. Just dig into what you already are, who you already are. Mm-hmm. Let people know it and see it. I promise you'll have no problem getting business, you know? So, yeah. Okay. Hey, I don't know if Karina, you know the answer to this. Brittany Taylor's asking, I'm okay with KV Core, but she's asking, is there a way to send an automated text or email to people who reach out through KV Core if you miss that? If they
like an auto-generated, I don't like auto-generated messages because I don't like to get them. I'd rather someone take a minute, get back to me when they can get back to me and actually have that conversation. I have an agent right now on my team that we've had to have a couple chats with, because every time I send an email out, I have an auto email back. So I don't know if she's actually seeing anything or not. And I think we're so over inundated with people's auto replies and chat bots coming at us and just a lot of junk that fills the space. It's up to you what you want to do with your business, but I don't do that in my business. So I haven't gone down that path for that reason. I want them to have human touch anytime that they're having a conversation. You know, even if I have to get back to them an hour later and say, hey, I'm with clients, but I will get back to you before the end of the day, or I'm going to be tied up and I'll get back to you first thing tomorrow morning. And as long as they know with communication, then that's all you need.
But the answer to your question is yes, Gary. You can set an auto email to buyers, to sellers, and all you have to do is have it triggered. You can set it up so that, you know, the minute if they go on your website or whatever, yes, you put them in this. If you put them in manually, you can set up an automatic for buyers and sellers. That's up to you, like she said. But the answer to your question is yes, that can be done.
Okay. I didn't realize it could be triggered. I knew you could set up the campaign to be in the 5th of the month or every whatever. I didn't realize it could be triggered. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Every time I put in one manually and it's a buyer, I identify what they are, their buyer, then it automatically starts to, that's a trigger for my system to start. And you can start, you can turn it off, you can turn it on.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Brittany, you can set up KV Core so you're notified, like if something comes in, like a text or something, or email, you can have yourself be notified of that, Brittany. Right, Bonetta?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, pretty sure, yeah. Phone calls too.
You can have a text come to your phone. Every time somebody goes on KV Core, responds to something, I get a text message on my phone that so-and-so, somebody hasn't been on somebody went on. Yeah, you can get a text message. They respond to you. You can respond to them on your cell phone.
Okay, what we'll do, Brittany, is we'll go over that probably not next week because we have Karina on, but the next time, like the 8th, we'll go over that on the 8th. But if you need that, like before that, if you go to workplace, Karina, is that top producer? Does that have a workplace page?
No.
No,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
is that
just a
something that,
participant on that one.
Can
okay.
you
So is there a
embed a,
forum? Go ahead, Karen. Well, actually, I think there is a KV Core a workplace page where you can post
Oh.
questions.
Yeah.
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 There's several.
So
And
look-
then there's also other agents that have mastered KV Core that have little programs within EXP themselves that will also teach you. But I sent the links that I sent in the workplace, I'm sorry, in our webinar chat. That'll get you guys started with like the one that takes you through the 6 weeks, which is kind of basic, but not if you literally make sure you don't go to bed each night and do what you have to do for that day. You will be surprised how fast your knowledge expands. And then Gary, I think I have your email in mind. I will send you the 2 Word documents that I have some other screenshots to show where to go for what in there that I put together for different people on my team over the last couple of years. But I want to give you guys a little nugget tonight. I'm on so many different calls all week long, whether it's a top producer panel or it's an AI society call or whatever. And there's always so many links. And I found that I would put them in a Word doc, but every once in a while, my computer decides Microsoft wants to reset me that night and I lose everything that I had in Word doc. So I've created a important links bookmark, and that's what it says. RE for real estate, important links. And it's a bookmark. So every time I'm on something and I click that button and it takes me out to the internet so I can save it, I save it to that bookmark. So that way I can go back if my computer shuts down or something, you have a laptop and you forgot to plug it in, or, you can only remember where you're putting all these links for so long, right? Like we're so data overloaded that create yourself somewhere on your whatever internet browser you use, and that's the one that pops up for you. Set yourself up something where you can just save the link, hit bookmark, saved, and move on, and that way you can go back to it later and not worry about losing it.
You can do bookmarks at the top of your screen. I have lots of bookmarks. I have like Gmail, EXP, and in there subfolders, and you
That's
can
right.
links it in there. So that if I want to go workplace, I just pull down the EXP under tools. I have the EXP tools. I go in there, workplaces in there, click on workplace, it takes me right there. So there's all kind of bookmark that you could do at the top of your browser that will stay.
That's right. And you can alphabetize them. I found I had so many bookmarks over the years that I had to move my folders all around to alphabetize them so I could find them easier and quicker.
are you able to embed like a link to KV Core?
And if you're sending out a message, yes.
You are. Okay. So if you wanted to send out like a mass email, you're able to embed a link, like an AI link or something.
Yeah, yeah. Just like any other email you would send out.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Also, if you wanted to do some or know some small thing about KV Core 2, I noticed she has a 6 weeks program, but on YouTube, there's a lot of videos, short videos about, hey, I want to do such and such with KV Core. Just Google that, put that in YouTube and you'd be surprised because I'm self-taught on KV Core. I'm self-taught. I wanted to know how it works. And I think one night I taught a class on the KV Core, but it can be, a lot, but you can take it in. Again, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. One bite at a time.
And you're absolutely right, Banana. Everything you could possibly want on KV Core is out there.
Yep.
Just look at the date that the video was made, because I've made that mistake on other products over the years. And then I'm watching something 3 years ago and they've had like 19 updates since. So just look at the date of the video before you start putting it into place. But I tell everybody to go to YouTube for that too, and Skyslope and anything else. But if you want to have your handheld, and it's a very easy it's a really nice little thing, but it'll literally walk you through for 6 weeks, setting everything up, and where to send your spreadsheets and where to do this. And then if you do it, And then you come back and then later you forget, you know that you have that sheet still with the, you know, the 6-week thing to save it, because then you can always go back and get a refresher on something, or go, if you can't remember that, then jump out to YouTube or do both. Yep, I love it.
Yeah. You got it. Let's see here. Oh, Brittany's asking, is it too late to contact somebody that called on the first? Brittany, my personal rule was always I wouldn't call a prospect anytime after 9 p.m. just because people have kids and stuff like that. And it's 8:45 now Eastern Standard Time, so it's up to you. You know, if anybody else has feedback on that, you know, so this is a person that Brittany, I'm guessing you don't know this person, right? It's a they responded to marketing. I mean, that's my opinion. I would call them tomorrow, but you know, some people might feel differently. So any other, any objections or any other, like
So-
how late would you call somebody, I guess?
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
I
should
used to
definitely call them.
call-
I
I used
think you misunderstood her question.
Okay.
It was meaning like, should she call him since she hasn't called him since the 1st of the month?
Oh,
Yes, yep.
oh,
And so
definitely
yes,
call 'em.
absolutely call them and
Yeah.
just let them know, hey, I just received this message and I didn't realize I missed you. I'm so very sorry, but can I help you? What can I help you with?
Yeah, but she wondered too if she should call tonight.
Oh,
or
tonight.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's for a first contact, I probably would not call at this time.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Unless you set a standard on when you want to be called by your
Right.
clients.
And when you're
right?
doing business.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, that was a packed night. I'm glad I wasn't one taking notes on this one because you'd have probably a 10-page manual going on, but definitely if you have to replay this tomorrow, replay it, but make sure you write down, you know, the minimum, the top 5 things. There was probably a lot more than that here, but the 4 things we reviewed earlier. And of course, you know, if you're, you know, we talked about KV Core, sending out a booklet of flips, turning on an automated campaign, at least one, setting up a cost schedule. That's right. We didn't talk about that. So I want to remind you, remember what Karina said. She calls these people, right? Some people are text people, some people are call people, some people are email, some people are Facebook, some people are LinkedIn. Keep track of how your folks are communicating with you and communicate with them on their terms, right? But you cannot go wrong with a phone call, right? 10 a day. It's easy because you're not going to get answers on half of them, right? So if you do those things, I'm telling you, do the NAEA piece, right? And come to class. I mean, I just wrote down 3 classes for April, right? All related to this, so to make sure you're well prepared and you're getting some business coming in. But just, you know, meet me halfway, guys. All right. I know it's hard when you're busy. You got children, parents, sometimes you have other jobs, all those things. But don't let anything get in the way of you being successful. I'm not saying don't spend time with your kids. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is maybe you get up an hour earlier, right? Schedule your day so you have chunks of time available for your family and you don't interfere with that. You build barriers around your schedule, okay? And you got to protect those barriers too, by the way. How many of you notice I don't answer my phone before 10 a.m., right? Not because I don't want to talk to you, but I have things I'm doing that if I do, makes the rest of the day go much easier. It makes me a better service partner for you because when I turn on the phone, you've got my undivided attention. But with your family, carve that chunk of time out. If it gets real busy, you know what? Put everybody to bed at 10 o'clock. You put in 1 more hour. All right. This is what it takes to get ahead. And you'll get to the point where you don't have to do that stuff anymore. But you've got to add on to what you're already doing for a period of time to get to that next level. If you don't, I swear it's deja vu all over again. And that, I know it's deja vu. I'm just playing with you, but you know, it's Groundhog Day every single day. You got to break out of it. You have to make that happen. All right. We're giving you all the tools we can. I will stay up with you. If you need time, you need to let me know. If you need time at 10 o'clock at night for something good, I'll do it, guys. I'm that freaking serious about this. Okay. Are you guys with me?
Yeah.
Just do a hand raise. All right, cool. All right.
Hey,
Let's
Gary,
knock
I
'em
just
dead,
put a
guys.
link in the chat. It's
Okay.
called otter.ai.
Mm-hmm.
George, I think you're on my George, right? You're on the the AI Society with me?
The IM,
Um, right, George?
George?
Oh, I can't hear him. Anyways, if you go out there, do the free version of otter.ai and sign up for it. And that thing will be your new best friend and assistant on all your Zoom calls. And it will literally take all the notes while you're on a Zoom call and then send you the transcript.
Nice.
So
I like
we'll
it.
be talking about that more next week, but you guys can get a head start.
Sounds cool. Listen, guys, I appreciate your hanging in there. I know this was a long one and packed with a lot of good stuff, but live it, breathe it. I promise you, you know, the market, the volume's been low, but you have everything you need to overcome that. We're already prepared for this buyer agency thing. So the key is you just have to put one foot in front of the other, you know, and now's the best time to start. Okay. All right. I'll see you on your one-on-ones. I'll see you next Monday night. I'm looking forward to it, Karina. Thank you again so much for joining tonight. So
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep. Good night, everybody. God bless you and your families. We'll see you tomorrow and next Monday.
Have a blessed week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night. Thanks.
Thank you for watching this episode of Monday Night Live. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.